this lecture is on group presentations, which was a PDF in your weekly folder. Small group interaction is defined as the process by which 3 or more members of a group exchange verbal and nonverbal messages in an attempt to influence one another. And we have different types of groups. We need to define them and so we can tell the difference between them. A small group is 3 to 15 people who share a common purpose, feel a sense of belonging to the group, and exert influence on each other. A team is defined as a coordinated group of people organized to work together to achieve a specific common goal. And then a speaking group is a collection of 3 or more speakers who come together to accomplish message content goals. Now, successful group work, in terms of successful group work, success depends on message continuity more so than it depends on group harmony. So your audience really cares more about how your message is coordinated and makes sense versus if you guys are actually getting along. Group coordination is key in building message continuity, and it requires shared meanings about interaction roles, decision-making processes, and conflict resolution. Cohesiveness is also a big component, and this is a tendency for a group to stick together and remain unified while pursuing objectives. It also minimizes social loafing, and social loafing is a decreased effort of each individual member as the number of a group increases. And you might have noticed this, in a small group, maybe 3 or 4 person group, everyone kind of pitches in. But as the group gets bigger, maybe there's 8, 9, 10, 11, it's easier to be a social loafer. It's easier to kind of hide and not do much and not take on as many responsibilities. So successful group work does minimize that social loafing. Within a group, we have different interaction roles that we play. First is task. And a task role is when these people are very logistic, they follow guidelines, sharing research information, scheduling appointments, good at organizing. That's a task role if you're doing any of those. Now, a maintenance role is more for relationship building and determining the best communication strategies for that group. And finally, there's an individual role. These are more self-centered, more focused on serving the needs of the individual at the expense of the group. And your type of role might change depending on what group you're in. You might have a really high maintenance role in one group, but you're very task-oriented in another. And maybe in another group where you aren't happy, you might just be very individual and self-centered. So the roles do change based on the group you're in. Within groups, we also have different leadership styles. We have the highly directive, which uses the authoritarian method. We have participatory, which is more democratic and offers more guidance and suggestions while also completing the task. And then we have the laissez-faire leadership style, offering little guidance or direction, just kind of there as a placeholder. And Table 18.1 has more leadership responsibilities based on the style. But it goes from one end of the spectrum to the other. The authoritarian, I'm telling you exactly what to do at all times, all the way to the laissez-faire, which is, you guys do what you want. I'm just here if you have a question. And each leadership style is important depending on what the task is. We also have several presentation types for small groups. The first are debates. And this is when members of the group divide responsibilities to prepare both pro and con presentations on a controversial issue or question. A forum is more of a question and answer session. People are questioned by others. People on the panel are questioned by others. Then a panel is when you have a group of experts publicly discussing a topic among themselves. And this one relies less on the transmission of information between the presenter and the audience and focuses more on interaction and dialogue among the presenters. With the symposium, which is the 4th presentation type, this is a series of short speeches. So this is a group presentation where individual members of the group divide a large topic into smaller topics for a coordinated individual presentation. And one person might serve as the moderator. They introduce, conclude, transition. And there's various types of symposia as well. You have current issue, multimedia, cultural, teaching, just a variety. So these are just some of the presentation types. Now, some key skills for effective group presentations. First one's creativity. You know, two heads are better than one, so be creative in your groups. Second is coordination. This involves smooth transitions, appropriate visual aids that are coordinated against all of them. They all look the same. They're all pretty standardized among the group. And this requires group work and group rehearsal. Everyone should participate in every step. And then finally, identification and resolution of a conflict. You know, when there's something that comes up in your group, you want to be able to coordinate, or you want to be able to resolve that conflict. So those are the very basics of group interaction and group work. And if you're really interested in small group communication, we do have a class, ACS 201, small group communication, that kind of gets into everything further. And you can see your assignment video on group presentations for further information.